primary ignition.
I'm just not the hero type, clearly.
What a piece of junk.
Enterprise, this is the captain.
I got a bad feeling about this.
It's all part of the plan.
Engage.
Welcome back to Podcast 2 for 1. I'm your host, Donovan Thompson, with my co-host,
Daniel Wingfield.
in today's episode 229 of Podcast 2 for 1, youtube.com/@2for1 studios. Guys and gals, it's the best place to consume all the content. And if you didn't know, listeners, and let's be honest, you probably did not, we are sponsored by Kapow Comics, located at 4047 East Coast Avenue in Sherwood, Arkansas. There they have comic books, collectibles, graphic novels, and of course, special guest appearances throughout the year.
Kapow.
Kapow. Daniel, it's 229. And I thought this podcast would be next week, but the stars aligned last night. And I literally said, "Hey, Kimberly, we need to watch Severance tonight." And you text me within 10 seconds to send that to her. And then you said, "We're going to, you guys are caught up too." And I was like, "Perfect. We're going to do this. We're going to do this at the exact same time."
Yes.
And Kimberly, I've watched the show, what, 2.5 years ago? It was come out 3 years ago almost.
2022. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, a long time ago. And I remember watching it and loving it. I think we talked about it some. I don't know if we talked about it on the pod as it was airing. I think we mentioned it as like, what are we watching, but not like an actual breakdown or review of the show. So we never really got into the nitty gritty of it. And also, it's one thing that even though I love the show, I never looked at fan theories or what was going on. I just kind of absorbed it and appreciated it. Now, 3 years later, of course, the hype was real. Apple TV bringing it back. One of, if not the most expensive TV show of all time, apparently, according to reshoots and writer strikes, all these sort of things. And I asked Kimberly, I said, "Kimberly, I'm not sure you'll like this show, but at least it's intriguing and like it gets better as you watch the first season because it kind of starts unraveling." And I asked her to watch it, and she, like I thought, she didn't really love the first half, but she started getting into it the second half as more things started kind of becoming more apparent. It kind of got more sinister. It kind of got more like what's going on here, especially in the finale. It's kind of like you have to know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, here we are, season 2, and Kimberly seems like she's as excited about it as I am.
Yeah.
And so very excited we're going to talk about it. Obviously, I love it. What's your general thoughts about Severance?
Yeah, so loved it when it came out. Wife and I watched it. So obviously we've been anticipating season 2 for a while. This show definitely has some Lost vibes to it in terms of like the twists, the even the way that like Lost had like the Dharma Initiative, this kind of like weird corporate company behind a lot of the shenanigans, and just kind of that you're really kind of constantly questioning what's going on, trying to figure it out. So coming into season 2, we were like, it's been 3 years. Why don't we just rewatch season 1 first? Because like I remember it, but it was such a good show. I'm sure it's rewatchable, which it was. It's a fantastic rewatch. I mean, it's like it goes by so quick. There's only 9 episodes, and so yes, we watched to the end of season 1 with the amazing "She's Alive" moment right before it like cuts to credits.
She's alive.
It's so good. It's so like you have to see what's next, and it was such a good feeling just to get to see what's next right after that.
100%, dude.
Season 2, it's starting off great. I mean, like, did you see? I don't think episode 1 had it, but episode 2 definitely had like the intro animation sequence.
Yes.
Did you watch it?
I did. I see. Whatever, no matter what the show is, I always watch the intro. I never skip it.
Every time
until I started dating or married Kimberly.
Sure.
And she hates watching the intro. She just wants to get to the show, which I guess maybe I'm the weird one, it sounds like, even amongst you.
I like to watch it once, but then after that, no.
That's what she says. And so the first episode didn't have it. Episode 2, she's fixing to skip it. She goes, "Wait, you haven't seen this yet." And so we watched that. We watched it last night, and
it was amazing.
It was amazing.
It was like this will win the awards. Yes, this will win so many awards. Like the different art styles they're using all the time. Like it was an incredible sequence of like just really visual effects, animation. It was the constant like changing of perspectives which is also just feels so true to the show. But yeah, I mean, like to me, Severance is right now in terms of shows currently on, maybe one of the best, if not the best show on right now. Like in terms of like acting, writing, and just interesting. What's like, it's just a fucking cool show. The premise is incredible and unique. And the way they're just going about it, like there's just so much care put into every element of the show. You know, it feels HBO. Like it feels like a premium HBO show. And that's one of the best compliments I think I can give a TV show. So
Well, I even texted you last night, and I don't think season one had this, but they're doing like the behind the scenes at the end.
Oh, yeah.
It's just they're verbatim copying the flow and style of
Yeah.
HBO's. And I don't know what it is, but I love that. It makes it feel like the creators like know if this is special or premier television, and they're commenting on it. I don't know what it is about about that in HBO. I love the behind the scenes at the end of that episode and the context and like getting into the characters a little bit more and hearing the actors talk about it. It makes me feel like, oh, even more so premier television.
Yeah.
But I think last night I was even telling Kimberly, I was like, this is basically just like a new Lost. And it's funny you brought that up. And I said, you're right. One, this show I think is nailing it on every department. There might be some pacing issues in terms of just like the need or want to be getting information quicker.
There was one moment last night. There was one moment where I noticed, and it was the moment where the old team's finally coming back to work. And they kind of took a little bit of time to show each person walk in, do the badge thing, and go up. And it was kind of like, after I saw the first two people, I didn't need to see everybody do it. But I will give them credit that they made it all this one big flowing kind of fake one shot, that at least there was something like to appreciate, even if it felt a little bit slow, just narratively. Like it was just like, narratively, I don't need to see everyone coming back and putting on their badge and saying, hey, to the security guard. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, yeah. But
I get it. Yeah. But again, it's even like you just said, it's being done at a high level, right?
Yes.
And I think the biggest thing the biggest hurdle it has to jump over easily. I said this when me and her were rewatching season one. I said it again last night to her. I said the payoff for this has to be good. Now, Lost is another interesting example where a lot of people do not like the payoff. I'm in the camp that I do like the payoff, at least on the side plot, and the journey of the characters is what makes that show.
Yeah.
But that was also 7 years of television, 20 plus episodes a season, and you're really getting into the nitty gritty of each character per episode and really caring about them and learning about their story. Like there's almost there's maybe one or two characters, but almost all those characters, Saeed, everyone, Hugo, or everyone, you're like, you like this character, like you empathize with this character.
Yeah.
My fear is that they have to at least make you care about all these characters, and I do. I'm not saying I don't.
Sure.
But my fear is that the juice won't be worth the squeeze. The big reveal will not be worth whatever the hell's going on.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think that is definitely, like with Lost, for example. I don't think there are definitely people that think it's not a good ending, but I think most of the people don't understand the ending. Like most of those people are like, they were dead the whole time, and like, no, did you watch it? That's not what the ending was.
Nope. For our listeners, it's literally purgatory before they all move on to whatever religion they believe.
Yes,
and it's
like, but it was like only that part of the time. In the beginning, it was all real. You know what I mean? Like it only became like this magical, like, you know what I'm saying? Like they actually did crash there. They actually did survive there and then like got off the island.
The only thing that's purgatory is the side flashes in the last season.
Yes, exactly.
That's purgatory. Everything else actually physically happened.
Right.
And it's like an interesting, they're dying at whatever point in their life and they're all meeting up in purgatory at the same time, which I think is a fascinating and hard to explain concept.
Yes, it wasn't, I think it was a satisfying ending that was not executed particularly well. I think the execution was lacking.
Part of it where they're corking the island. Okay. Not the greatest.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. Like the mythos that you got, like with the black monster and the brothers and stuff. It got weird when it tried to become like this creation myth thing.
I like that part, but I don't like corking the island. Like we have to cork the island. And I say that's literally what they're doing is corking the island.
That part of it, I don't even remember clearly that part of the plot. So that tells you how memorable that was.
It's a giant cork and they have to cork the island. Like it's like a bottle of wine, the island, and they have to cork it, or like the island's going to explode and destroy the whole world or
How do they
something.
cork it?
With a cork. Like they have to recork it. There's a cork there that has been it's been uncorked,
Okay.
this is the
I'm
end.
sure you're right. You're just like I'm like, did it
I know
get
I'm right. I
that
just rewatched.
ridiculous?
I
Um,
rewatched it all over the summer again, and I mean, I didn't forget.
I'm sure
First
you're
of all, I
right. No,
watched it
I'm
years
just saying like I
ago.
was like that part of it I just completely
In the
don't remember at all.
finale, after he fights John Locke on
Yeah,
whatever
that's the
cliff, which
smoke
is
monster version of
Mud
him or
Monster
whatever. Yeah.
now, and then they at the same time he has to cork the island. Like there's a
Okay.
whirlpool, and it's like a gold and cork, and he has to put the cork
Oh
in the
yeah.
whirlpool. So anyway, sorry, Severance listeners, that's the ending of Lost.
Well, but that's a perfect illustration of we hope doesn't happen with this show, right?
Right.
Like it's like a thing of like they have to stick the landing. And I will say these first two episodes give me a lot of hope. Here's why. Within the first two episodes, we got almost every cliffhanger answer that last season left us with answered. Not all of them. The big one of like, why is his wife there and why does he think she's dead? Like that's kind of the biggest overhanging that. And then like, what is the point of Severance? What is actually happening? But like in terms of like, what happens immediately after the finale, in terms of what are the consequences of Helly's speech at the big thing up there? How did they address that? How did they?
I did think that was a little weak. Oh, I was inebriated.
Oh no, I think it's supposed to be that way. I think it was supposed to be like this feels desperate and like why would
It
anyone
feels
believe
super.
this?
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
and to be fair, to piggyback off that, I think that the show would have behooved itself with the audience if both these episodes released the same night and then we had a
Sure.
week to week, because this is literally like it's part one and part two, because we're getting the
Yeah.
Severance perspective and then we're getting the real life perspective.
It's
And
interesting, I'm usually hate when a show does that where it like
really,
goes right back in time to show you the events, but I
oh,
was
gotcha.
never not entered like when you get one episode and then the next episode you see how he got there, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like that sometimes is
Well,
like, oh,
again,
well, this has already happened. But to me, I was getting so much just kind of juice of like
yeah, you're right.
the characters asking the questions, like the characters, talking about the things you've been wanting them to talk about. So I was just completely engrossed in it the whole time.
Well, I had called it, but I kept saying to Kimley before we watched the second episode, I said, you know, I'm sure we're going to see how they got there, and we did. I said, but I don't think it's actually been 5 months, and they're actually the Lumen 4
Yeah.
or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and it's only been actually 5 days,
Yeah.
48 hours since the mishap, and they took him
Yeah.
and then he worked 3 days
Without
before
hiring
without the
other ones
crew,
back. Yeah.
and they never, because it's like a weird thing, like, oh, they my team, I
Yeah.
need my team, and the truth
Yeah.
is, it ain't like it was always a weird thing, like, wait, so they've been 5 months and they went and got them back instantly.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
not like they're
Yeah.
not famous, they covered it up.
Well, it
and
was supposed to be the idea that they were just elsewhere or something like that. I don't think they even told them they were fired. I think it was supposed to be the idea.
not
they
fire,
like
but
they'd been
elsewhere in the company.
exactly.
But they were making
Actually
sweeping
fired.
changes, and sweeping changes, and also
Yeah.
that because of them ousting Lumen,
Yes.
that this was the new reform, and you can
Yeah.
safely think outside of this, like whatever. And of course, their freaking reformation is like more treats, more
Yeah, right. It's more corporate
activities.
bullshit. It's great.
It's
It's
just
great. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
what's so good is how much of it feels like just a straight up mockery of so much of corporate culture in the best way.
Yeah.
In the way that just
Yeah.
like tickles me. I'm like, yes, drag
100%.
it through the dirt. You know what I mean?
I still haven't looked up like any theories or anything,
Yeah.
but it dawned on me last night. I want to kind of run this by you.
Yeah.
But I was like, wait, there's like those sheep or those goats or whatever.
Yeah.
What if they've cloned his wife? What if this is a cloning thing?
Mm.
Like because
Wow.
if
Yeah.
if he identified the body, his wife's body,
Sure.
what if they're cloning people from whatever, and
Yeah.
this is like a thing for immortality or something, and cloning, like The
Yeah.
Island, like the movie The Island with Michael Bay, where they're cloning people, and like this group of people don't know they're clones, and they're being like, you won a prize, and you end up shipped off, and actually your body parts for your counterpart in the world. But I kind of last night I was like, I think it's like goats, whatever. I looked online, and the first like mammal to be cloned was a sheep, and I'm like, close
Yeah.
enough,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I think that
Could
could
be.
be a theory. That could be a theory.
Yeah, I
I've
mean,
never theorized about the show until last night, and that was my
yeah.
theory.
No, I mean, I've been doing more too. I mean, I think to me it's interesting. It does feel like everything's revolving around Mark in a way that makes him feel special. Like he's
And he
different than all
didn't
the
feel
other
that
ones.
way the first season, and now he
Yes.
is.
And now,
Yes.
now it feels like, but was this the way the whole time? And we're just now understanding that.
No,
Well,
it was. It was.
And like, because Miss Cobell lived right next to him, right? Like all that, like there was so much going on that they were like invading his life inside and out. You know what I mean? Like
that, and there's a special interest towards the second half of the first season, or the very end of the first season,
Yeah.
when like they're anticipating them getting their work done on time. And it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
it's an important thing, and like
Yeah.
what the hell are they doing?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And the thing is too, are they even seeing what are they even actually seeing what they're actually doing? You know, that's
Sure.
another thing too,
Yeah.
is like, you know, it's kind of like I don't know, wearing a filter of some sort. Like
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
what they can do with technology.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'm curious. Obviously, it's important work to Kier. Kier?
Yeah, Kier,
Kier?
yeah, whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, like, so one of my theories is that I was thinking is like, what if these people like Miss Cobell and Mr. Is it Milchek?
Milchek, who's fantastic.
What if he steals like he's in every scene. He's just
an evil black
force.
Mr. Rogers is what he is. Evil black
it's
Mr.
so
Rogers.
good. It's like yes, he's wonderful.
It's great. It's fantastic.
His politeness is so good. Like this like forced hiding rage politeness.
Yeah, he's so good.
I think one of my favorite parts is in season 1 when they're having the dance party and he's dancing around.
Oh, he's like right Mark's face.
And then he like hits like the guy that like the what's his name? The bigger guy with the kid that saw him in the closet. And then he just like starts beating him up.
Oh, he bites his arm. Yeah, he bites him.
It's so good.
And then later he's like, yeah, watch out for your chompers. Like it's like he's trying to make a joke of this hugely serious thing, and he literally drew blood when he bit him, and it's just like
Okay, well, so my theory was, what if they were Severance workers, but like the long-term plan of Severance is that your Severance self takes over your whole self? Like that's what it always is, like the plan is that they're basically creating, you know, like people that will do whatever they want at any point, that are total like drinking all the Kool-Aid, and then at some point they flip a switch and all of a sudden there is no Audi, there's just the innie. And now we'll let you go out and be do other shit for our company. That was just one thought. I'm like, what if
you mean kind of like putting them in a position where like you either
once
do
they're
what
fully
we say or we're
brainwashed.
going to kill you?
No, I'm saying once the innie is fully brainwashed into the culture, you know, drinking all the Kool-Aid, and they feel confident about that, then they like, maybe it is like, listen, your Audi's we just found out your Audi's a horrible person or something. I don't know what it would be, how they rationalize it, but basically saying like, we're going to flip the switch and now this is all you will be now. I don't know. Like it would be a way to like create indoctrinated people, you know what I mean? Very easily.
Sure.
And then, that was one. So that's one theory I had, is like, what if Miss Cobell and Mr. Milchek used to be Severance, but then their Severance got turned on all the time. And so their old versions just went away.
Okay, that makes sense, because I mean, one thing too I was thinking was like, there's got to be people out there in the world that are like innies,
right,
that are operating in the whatever, and it's like it's either reversed or whatever.
Yes.
But yeah, that makes total sense that Milchek used to be severed, and it's like if you don't do our horrible things, they can turn you off at any time.
Right. Yeah, we can end your life, end your existence. Yeah. No, yeah, there's that. I mean, like there's so many things that could be happening, and I think you're right. Like the big mystery boxes are why are they doing what they're doing with Mark's wife? Why is that happening? What is the point of that? And then what is the big reason behind Severance? Like what is the nefarious goal? Because we know there has to be one. I will say
it also feels like she is. I mean, it also feels like a litmus test for how well the program is working, because of a couple of things. One, her living that close to him is like,
Mm-hmm.
will he recognize me? One, or will
Sure.
whatever? Because she
Yeah.
also kind of probes him a little bit, like
Oh
kind of
yeah.
like, like trying to get
Seeing if
information
he's like, yeah, like,
if
yeah,
he's
yeah.
all Mark or if he's all Annie or Audi,
Right,
and
right.
that could be a ploy to like really see, like, if there's one thing that Mark would break for, it would be his wife, and
Like
he
how
clearly
powerful,
hasn't.
yes, how effective is the program? Can we
Yeah,
hide a man's dead wife right in front of him for years?
for years and see, how
Yeah.
effective is the program. That
Yeah,
now,
that's
dude, I feel like I've never talked about this about anybody
yeah,
for
yeah,
3 years till
yeah.
just now, and I feel like we're on to something.
It,
So
it really could be like it, but that's even then. It's like I can't wait to see how it all plays out. Again,
yeah,
partly is because this show is done at just again such a fucking high level. You know what I mean? Like even in season one, like towards the end, I completely forgot that when he goes to the waffle party, for one, it's this like ridiculous waffle party in this mansion, but then
I do
there's just like
too.
crazy ass, yes,
It's
like
eyes, dude.
sexual dance.
It's eyes wide shut, dude.
It did, dude. It totally is. You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They took inspiration from
Oh
that.
yeah.
There's honestly some eyes wide shut about this whole show.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like they just, it's like you never really know what's going to happen next, but the performances are just constantly A plus plus. The writing is so good. I'm really enjoying this little arc with Helly's character, with her, which it seems like from last episode that it's like she wasn't going to come back and be Heliar again, but she saw that Heliar like made a connection with Mark, like and like had like some sort of like love connection, right? And to me it kind of read like, okay, what if this lady is someone that's such a perfect daughter to this company and spokesperson for this company, she's never able to find like true love, like she just, because she's this robot, she's never find any connection with someone like that. And so when she sees her any find real connection like within a couple weeks, it's like she has to go back because at least part of her can experience what that feels like.
My interpretation of that one, I think she ultimately was forced to go back by the company because of Mark, so Mark could,
Sure,
for the program to be finished, whatever Mark's working on. And secondly, I think that she was obviously, like, you're kind of like what you're saying, she was fascinated by the idea of being able to have a connection with someone, because I don't think clearly her relationship with her father,
yes,
she's looking
it's
for
cult.
approval.
Yes,
It's
yes,
cult like, and it,
yes.
even everything about it. So I think that was the enticing part to her, because it feels, I don't know.
Well, here's the question then: is she still any Heliar, or is it Audi any Heliar pretending to be any Heliar now that she's back?
Interesting.
You know what I'm
I
saying? Like,
think,
what if she decided to turn off the Severance part and just pretend to be Heliar, so she can be more of an informant, whatever? I don't know.
she could.
I did see some clues. Apparently, like in episode 1, she like can't find the power button on her computer or something for a second or something like that people notice. Like there was a couple things, and then like the sound effects, like when they come down the elevator, you hear a sound effect like when Mark goes into his
Yeah.
any version. There wasn't one with her. And so like there's definitely been some, like they're definitely either trying to like give us false signals,
Yeah.
right? Like trying to like, show us one hand while the other one does something else, or something. But yeah, so I think that's
Yeah.
a big.
I don't think she's always outie, clearly, because she was fascinated by her innie's kiss to Mark.
I kind of agree too. I think she would want to be the any version again, or something.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't think she's always the outie. I think there is obviously an innie. She does try to kill herself.
No,
I
I'm
don't
saying,
think,
but they're saying, but what if now that she's come back,
sure,
she's not doing it anymore? She's just
and she tries to mac with Mark as
yeah,
outie version.
tries to get that connection her any had, but for her.
Yeah. Interesting.
And
There's
and
two
she's
things I
more
want
of
to
an
talk about.
and she's more of a double agent, right? She's like actually aware of what's going on and not actually wanting out like her any is.
Sure, it makes sense. One thing I didn't want to talk about, I think this is also a large mystery. So I think there's two that you brought up.
Yeah.
Obviously, the I can't think of his name, the bigger guy.
Yeah, I need to look it up.
He has no, like, super centrical tie to the larger narrative, right? And neither does
Dylan.
John. Dylan.
Dylan
Neither
Irving.
does.
Irving is John Turturro's character.
Yeah, Irving does, though, in my opinion, because he's been in season one. He's drawing the exit door,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so, in my opinion, there's a
Or
couple things
wait, is it
here.
an exit door? I thought like when he looked at it, it was like I've never seen a door like this. I thought someone had said that when he saw it or someone. Like he
That's
said,
what any. That's what any Irving said.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
But Audi Irving is drawing on repeat the exit
Yes.
door with the red light.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Okay.
my thought is, okay, what if they're moving Audi Irving around the
Yeah.
different departments and they keep creating new innies for Irving and he has died multiple times. Like his innie,
Yeah.
he's already had like
Yeah.
2 or 3 innies die already.
I will say his Audi seemed much more suspicious of everything already. Like when he was having that conversation with Mr. Milchek before he got fired. It was like
I took it as earnest, like sincerity, like, hey, what's going on?
no,
Like,
no, but then it
what
was
did I
like,
do?
yeah, I did, but it did feel like he was already like there's this part of me that wonders if he is he like already investigating this as his Audi or something like that. Could he be
Well,
like
clearly something's
some
happening.
like FBI CIA agent that they're sending to check this
Yeah.
out. That's
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like that kind of thing.
I agree because there's something going on with like the paperwork he had in season one of like the names and the
Yes.
charts of people who worked at previous plays, like you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And also we saw I think one shot in this second episode of Christopher Walken like driving and like
he's in
we're
the-
looking.
Well, because he goes to that phone book and I think the assumption is he's calling Christopher Walken or somebody, but he's like, I get you're not answering right now, but my innie got the message, is what he said. And so it's like he's doing
Okay.
something.
Okay.
He has motives that we have no idea about.
Yeah, because we never saw the end of him knocking on the door for Christopher Walken's door.
No, we did not. We did not.
So
see
there's
it, yes.
something really big happening. And I told Kimberly that a week or two ago. I said I think he might be like working for the government or
Yeah.
FBI or something. I said that. Yeah. So
Yeah, which is
which I
so
hope
cool.
he
It's
is.
fun, and like I love his. Yeah, I do too. That's like such a fun,
so cool.
wrinkle or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like that's the thing is like you've just got like John Turturro, who's like a legendary actor, and he's playing this amazing
Christopher
role.
Walken.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
I hope we get lots of him in this season too. But like the cast is just so perfectly casted. I loved Dylan's interview with the door company.
Well, it's funny because also, yeah, great scene.
It's such a
but,
funny
like,
little scene.
that guy and also her like Helen's henchman, big guy, like the
Yeah,
big guy with
yeah.
the beard. They're both in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which I just rewatched a month
wow.
ago.
Yeah,
And that was written and directed by
By
Ben
Ben
Stiller.
Yeah,
By
yeah.
7,
And
8 years
starred in.
ago. Yeah, and started in. So and like he brought both those people from the same
Makes
movie
sense.
back from the same
Makes sense.
episode.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like, whoa, that's Ben Stiller's best friend.
That's the secret is this is actually a continuation of that universe.
Oh,
It's the
God,
Midiverse.
Don't tease me, dude. Walter Mitty shows up and he's severed. I'm gonna pee my pants, dude. And
That
so,
would be fucking wild.
dude, my head would explode, honestly.
Yeah.
But anyway, I agree. There's a lot of cool things here, and I think we even just hearing you've made me more excited about the show than I already was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that to me makes me feel like, yeah, if you're talking to people about this is truly a water cooler show. But again,
Absolutely.
they really have to do either the characterization and how much we care about these characters has to be so profound that we don't care about the result, or
Sure.
the result has to be really good.
Yeah. I mean, I think to me, it's like at the very least, the answer about Mark's wife has to be good. I think because to me, it's like that's the emotional one we're connected to. Yes, I'm interested to know what Kier's ultimate plan is, but there's a few versions of what his ultimate plan is that can probably work. You know what I mean? I know they're going to execute well. So it's like whatever the ultimate goal of the Severance program is, I don't think it's as tricky to figure out a compelling answer for that. The harder part, I think, is just how do you make the wife plot make sense? And like, I'm assuming like, and I will say that's another thing. I don't think this show needs to be more than 3 or 4 seasons. Honestly, I think
Season 3
it
needs to be
will
the
outstay
end.
its welcome. I think it needs to end with like the conclusion of the wife arc with the show arc. Maybe there's a version where they like that's the penultimate episode, or like halfway through the last season they finally get on the same page and are working together or something like that. But yeah, I just think like to me that's the hook, the emotional hook of the show is what happened with Mark and his wife.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the big thing is, I mean, at least it may be different now with season 2 starting. I need to rethink this, but I told Kim, I said, the show ultimately is about someone dealing with their grief.
Yes.
About trauma, dealing with their grief, and like what's the symbiosis of both versions of yourself by the end of it?
Yes. Yes.
And so my question is, the ultimate end of this is what happens to Annie and Audi Mark? Are they one person? Do they split off?
Yes. Yes.
Do they become?
Yes.
I mean, like, do they become one person again?
Right.
I mean, like,
right.
Annie Mark I mean, like, they feel so separate, and like, if Annie Mark doesn't exist, I'm gonna feel devastated.
Sure.
But he is Mark. That is a part of Mark. That is
Yeah.
partly part of him that died with his wife.
Right.
And
yeah.
so,
No. It's so, because it is like this, like it's the most extreme version of disassociation you could ever get, which is to like literally just turn off your brain for half the day and not be that person anymore.
Shit, dude, not even half, man.
And yeah, I mean, like I have been in places in my life where that would have been appealing to me too, honestly. You know what I mean? But it is kind of that ultimate question of like, when any Mark is there, is he actually happier, or is he just burdened by things he can't communicate? You know what I mean? Like that question. I think they talked about it some in season 1, where it's like they say you still feel whatever your Audi's feeling, you just don't know what to call it or whatever. You know what I mean? Sure. So it's like this like question of like, is he actually? And I think part of the thing of like the fact that he's trying to figure out what's going on or get out means there's at least part of him that it really isn't happy there. You know what I mean? And it's like, I agree.
Well, I mean, the seed there, which we've kind of like gotten away from, is I think was the death of Peter, or the turning off of Peter.
Yes,
Peter, is it
yes,
Peter? And so I think that
his best friend Pete. Yeah,
Pete. And so I think that like the first internal loss, and it starts like, oh, this is what that is. So maybe I've been feeling lost the whole time. Right.
Yeah. Pete, I hope I have forgotten about Pete. I hope we kind of get back to.
Well, there's that girl who kills the security officer guy.
Yes, and that is the one that it seems to be a former Lumen employee.
Which I think
she said she's the one that created the chip.
She injected them. Yeah,
or something.
Or worked with it. Whatever.
And so like I'm guessing we're gonna get that at least that character back in some way, because she seems incredibly important.
One thing I've read is that, and this is from IGN, so this could be like a nothing burger, but it was like they've seen the first 6 of however many episodes, 9 or 10, and it's like it brings up more questions than it answers. And they kind of gave it a lower score compared to other places I've seen.
They gave Penguin a 5 out of 10.
I don't understand also
5 out of 10
places doing reviews on the first episodes, or a 6 out of 9 episode situation where they don't see the whole picture and they're giving reviews based on that. I don't understand that system. It makes no sense to me. I don't know why they do it. It's like going to the movies and reviewing a movie. Well, I mean, like the critics, they start it's like giving a review for me only seeing like a third or 2/3 of the movie and reviewing it, and then giving us Rotten Tomato score based on that. And it's like, what? What?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm obviously in for the ride. I hope this show I think it's doing well enough. I think they should do well at the Emmys, and Apple TV obviously wants to stay in that game. Again, I read 25 million per episode, which makes it the most expensive TV show of all time because of the rewrites, and they apparently like reshot so much because they were like shooting it, the writer's strike, things were happening during COVID, and they're also kind of like, we have to reshoot this, and also like, this isn't good enough. We have to keep making it better because this is not to the level that fans are expecting. So maybe that's a promising thing.
Season 1 was a surprise. Like no one expected this show to be what it is. Like I think we were interested, but like no one expected it to be this good.
I agree, but also it should not cost, in my opinion, 25 million to direct. That's more than Game of Thrones episode. And that's wild. Even though I know, like it took them 6 months to shoot, apparently 6 to 8 months to shoot the opening shot, because they were doing it in pieces over 6 to 8 months. But it's like, This isn't. It's primarily an
Yeah.
office setting.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that does just feel like a bit of mismanagement if that's how much it costs for each one. I mean, because I mean,
Well,
they
I'll only
built
bring
these
it
sets
up
last
because
year. They built they built all the sets season one, so they didn't have to build those again. And like,
yeah, I only
you
bring it
know,
up because of the longevity of the show and like, can it do it? Apparently, like one of the investors, like they lost money this season because they overpaid,
sure.
and so can they do it season three with the finances of this season? I don't know. So,
Yeah, yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I just, the show has every reason to be an all-timer, or it has every tool, in its belt to be one of the best shows ever, to be honest. I mean, like if it can really land the ending, this can be one of the best kind of like mystery suspense TV shows I think we've ever had, and I think that's awesome. I hope it does. Yeah, I mean, I think just to say again, like I want to say like this show just at every level is just knocking it out the park. Just the cinematography, the visuals of the show are just always so interesting and so
they kill it, dude.
I loved the shot of like Helly up in the lit up like boardroom, but you can still see the parking lot and the guy. Like there was these great, which I'm sure that was kind of a digitally made shot. But like I will say too, for a show that is so dark, I never have an issue seeing anything. Looking at you, Game of Thrones season 8, this
That
show
one
is
episode.
constantly at nighttime, and there's never an issue with like, oh, I need to turn my TV's brightness up. So thank you for actually like lighting it for normal people. People that don't have QLED, ultra black, perfect, blah 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 TVs that will reproduce it perfectly like it was shot. Sorry, I like to see things. But yeah, man, I'm so excited. I like it is nice having a show where it's just like every week there's something new to talk about, something new to see, more questions, more answers. And so it's just it feels like this show is really kind of kicking off the 2025 like TV season, of just
I think we're going to eat well this year.
Yeah.
You
I mean, like
know, we
Invincible's
have-
coming back in early February. With they're dropping like the first 3 episodes or 2 episodes, I think.
I don't
at
know.
first.
I haven't heard it.
Think
That's awesome.
so.
If so, I have
I
not heard
believe
anything.
so.
But
Yeah.
we have that. I mean, apparently it's getting rave reviews as of today. But the new animated Spider-Man show, which I think looks horrible, is getting rave reviews. It comes out in a couple days.
Interesting.
On Disney Plus. And then we have, like you said, Invincible. On the movie side, we have Captain America, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, Superman, Fantastic. Yeah, I said Fantastic Four. And we have Peacemaker season 2 this year.
Yeah. Was that in the fall?
That's in the fall this year, yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think we're getting Last of Us season 2 starts relatively soon, although I will not be watching it
because you haven't played the game.
Because I haven't played the game,
dude.
And I know
So what are you gonna?
I will not.
I mean, you got to play the
I will
game
not watch
quickly,
it.
right?
I will not watch it until I play the game first. And then
You're gonna have to like hide from spoilers on the internet.
it's fine. I already know. I know the big spoiler,
Sure.
and a long time
I'm
ago.
very
Unfortunately,
curious how they will handle all of that in a TV show. There's a part of me that says it will actually play better in a TV show than it did in the game.
yeah, I don't really know how it plays. I just know the spoiler. I don't know how it plays, and I don't know anything about it other than I know what.
Are you going to try to beat the game soon so you can?
Maybe I've had personal requirements before I play Last of Us Part 2, and I still have not met those requirements.
What is that?
So we'll talk about it later. But I just don't know. I don't know if I will break those requirements so I can watch the TV show. I don't know.
Gotcha.
So anyway, that's on the horizon. There's other stuff too that's coming out that I'm forgetting about.
Yeah.
But we're going to eat well this year. So I think we got plenty of stuff to talk about. I'm glad that Severance has now entered the chat, as I say.
Yes. Absolutely.
How can our listeners write into us, Daniel?
Listeners, you can write into bit.ly/241mail and let us know what your theories are about Severance. I'm sure there is some obvious possibilities that we just aren't seeing yet. This definitely feels like a show that you can watch 2 or 3 times and probably pick up something new. Especially like, watching season 1, knowing how season 1 ends was way more kind of informative. You just picked up on a lot more. I'm sure that'll be the way this is too. So maybe you've watched these first 2 episodes multiple times, and you already know what's going to happen, you should let us know at bit.ly/241mail.
We also have Daredevil in a couple in like March.
Yes, that was that. Yes, I knew there was another. It's like
I was
a
like, there's a
20
big
episode
one, right?
season or something.
No, this one's like 9 episodes. It's truncated. They really slashed it down.
Is it 30-minute episodes?
No idea. I think it's gonna be like an hour, like the Netflix stuff. Do not quote me. I don't think anyone knows, but I think it'll be like the Netflix, surely, which means 40 minutes. Surely they won't do
Sure.
30. God, I hope it's like I hope it's like a true hour like Netflix was doing in the first
Yeah.
3 seasons. And I'd like to
That'd be
rewatch those actually, because I really love all 3 of them a lot actually.
Sure.
And I like to tell you you're wrong on season 3. And so if you can't, write us in the comments section or in the bit.ly, you always write us in the comment section below, youtube.com/@241studios. Best place to consume the content and let us know your theories, your thoughts, and your tribulations about Severance. I'm excited. 2025 is starting to take shape as we figured out what we're going to talk about.
Right.
And I'm excited to keep going. So my name is Donovan Thompson.
I'm Daniel Wingfield.
And we have spoken.